The wider galaxy views humanity as an evolutionary afterthought, biologically soft, fragile, and burdened with short lifespans compared to older species. When trade executive Claire Dawson took a shortcut through a transit tunnel on Meridian Station, 3 assassins dropped through a maintenance hatch, weapons already drawn. Claire's plainclothes human bodyguard intercepted them in exactly 4 seconds. Without drawing a single weapon, he redirected their fire, disabled the first 2 attackers, and forced the third into a full retreat. Claire's survival challenged established assumptions about human physiology. The precision required to dismantle a trained squad barehanded revealed a biological capability that sat outside the known galactic hierarchy. Reviewing the station's security footage frame by frame, Claire isolated her bodyguard's movements, focusing specifically on his inexplicable reaction time. This timeline compares standard limits to the recorded event. Normal human nerve signals take measurable milliseconds to trigger muscle movement. Kaylin's response entirely bypassed those constraints. Furthermore, the footage revealed the attackers moved in a specific 3-man strike pattern, an extinct combat doctrine. The use of this extinct military formation identified the attackers as members of a much older, organized threat targeting Claire's trade empire. Confronted with the evidence, Kaylin revealed his true origins. He was a veteran of the Silence War, an unrecorded conflict initiated by older galactic powers who intended to quietly erase humanity before it could threaten the established political balance. The strategy relied on absolute secrecy. The hostile faction systematically targeted isolated research stations and small outer colonies, ensuring they disappeared off the grid without leaving any distress signals or wreckage behind. In response, humanity initiated a desperate biological engineering program. To survive, volunteers were subjected to procedures that forced their bodies past standard failure points, removing natural biological limiters to maximize physical endurance and reaction speeds. The war eventually faded into the shadows. Today, Kaylin Voss operates as the last known surviving product of that extreme military project. The reappearance of this specific enemy meant they were returning to finish their original extermination plan. As living proof of humanity's resilience, Kaylin himself was now a primary target. The situation escalated when an encrypted warning arrived from Elias Grant, Kaylin's former commanding officer, whom he had assumed was dead. Elias confirmed the ancient faction was rebuilding its military assets, using local corporate rival Victor Lang. Lang's trade consortium acted as a financial proxy, funneling resources into a renewed campaign without drawing official scrutiny. Shortly after, Lang invited Claire to a supposed peace summit aboard his private vessel. Knowing it was a hostile setup, Claire and Kaylin chose to attend anyway to gather direct evidence of the operation. The moment they attempted to leave, the ship's heavy internal doors engaged and sealed the corridors. Armed soldiers wearing the old faction's insignia stepped out. Victor Lang's maneuver disguised a targeted attempt at localized genocide. With the exit blocked, Kaylin reactivated the lethal conditioning he had spent years trying to suppress. Positioning himself between Claire and the advancing guards, the physical cost of Kaylin's augmentations became immediately apparent. He had to push his aging, engineered systems to their absolute limits, enduring immense biological strain to counter the assault. The faction soldiers were highly disciplined, pressing forward with coordinated precision and overwhelming numbers, designed to exhaust Kaylin's defenses. The deadlock broke when Elias Grant breached the ship's security perimeter. He surged through the rear corridor, striking the faction's guards from behind with brutal efficiency to clear a path to the exit. Recognizing the closing window of escape, Elias made a tactical calculation. He ordered Kaylin to get Claire off the ship, choosing to stay behind and hold the corridor against the remaining reinforcements. Kaylin's survival required yet another massive personal sacrifice, leaving his commander behind. However, this brutal escape provided Claire with the exact intelligence required to counter the faction's renewed offensive. Kaylin's historical instinct was to hide and maintain a low profile to ensure survival. Claire proposed the exact opposite approach: expose the entire conspiracy to the galactic public. They assembled a plan to broadcast the evidence of the original Silence War, along with Lang's financial betrayal, directly to every major network monitoring the Galactic Trade Summit. Knowing the broadcast location, the enemy faction launched a full-scale, synchronized siege on Claire's private compound, determined to destroy the communication hub before transmission began. The ensuing defense was not about holding physical territory. It was a race against time, relying on the dissemination of information as the only mechanism capable of neutralizing the enemy's geopolitical advantage. With Elias having miraculously regrouped with them, the augmented soldiers and Claire's private security held the perimeter, absorbing the brunt of the assault, just long enough for the data upload to finish. The transmitted data packet included this digital dossier. It outlined the encrypted financial transfers linking Victor Lang to the extinct alien faction, military logs detailing their resurgence, and the biological truth of Kalen's engineering. Realizing the intelligence was now irreversibly public, the faction leader ordered an immediate withdrawal. Within days, Victor Lang's entire corporate empire collapsed under the weight of the exposure. The exposure dismantled the faction's local influence and dissolved Victor Lang's empire. For Kalen, the event ended years of careful anonymity, replacing his instinct for hiding with the decision to face future threats alongside the allies he had fought to protect.